You have been taught that there is a darkness in this world, a darkness of pain, of fear, of lack, and you have believed it. You have been searching for a light to dispel this darkness, looking for it outside of yourself in the world of effect. I am here to tell you that you are searching in the wrong direction. The light you seek is not a light that shines upon consciousness. It is consciousness itself. It is the very sun of your own being, an inner radiance that knows no night, a brilliance that is untouched by any shadow the world can present. This is not a philosophy to be believed, but a reality to be experienced. What you will discover in this hour is that there is no darkness capable of extinguishing this light, for this light is what you are. We are going to move beyond the concepts of a light that comes and goes, and awaken to the eternal sun that we are. If your heart has heard this and yearns to abide in this perpetual dawn, then I invite you to perform a sacred act. Subscribe to this channel and consecrate this journey, that these revelations may continue to find you. Then go into the silence, and when you return, mark your presence in the comments section with the number 7, the number of spiritual fulfillment, as a symbol of your inner readiness to let this light shine unimpeded forever. For your entire life, you have been conditioned to look for the source of your peace, your safety, and your solutions out there. You look to circumstances to improve so that you may feel happy. You look for relationships to validate your worth. You look for financial security to grant you peace of mind. You look for a light to be shown upon your path from some external source, a teacher, a book, a doctrine, a favorable turn of events. This is the great and ultimately painful misunderstanding that perpetuates the very sense of lack and darkness we are trying to escape. We are like someone sitting in a room, convinced it is pitch black, begging for someone to bring us a lamp, all the while unaware that we are sitting on the switch that would illuminate the entire house from within. This relentless outward search is the root of all human suffering. It is a fundamental misdirection of attention. When a problem arises, whether it is a health concern, a financial difficulty, or a personal conflict, where does your consciousness fly? It flies to the problem. It becomes absorbed in the dark shape of the circumstance. It tries to analyze the darkness, fight the darkness, or plead for the darkness to change. But you cannot fight shadow with shadow. You cannot fix a problem on the level of the problem, because the problem, as a power, is an illusion sustained only by your belief in its reality and its power to separate you from your good. The moment you believe a circumstance has the power to darken your soul, to rob you of your peace, you have given your power away to a shadow, and you have turned your back on the only reality there is. The radical truth we must come to is this: the light is not external. It is not a commodity to be acquired. It is not a prize for good behavior or correct thinking. The light is your own consciousness. It is the very fabric of your being, the substance of what you are. Before you were a man or a woman, a success or a failure, a healthy body or a sick one, You were and are pure consciousness. This is not the consciousness of your brain, which is limited and conditioned. This is the unconditioned, infinite consciousness in which even your personal sense of self arises and has its being. It is the screen upon which the movie of your life is projected. The movie may be a comedy or a tragedy filled with bright scenes and dark scenes, but the screen itself remains untouched, unchanged, ever present, and ever luminous. Consider a simple, profound example from daily life. You are walking through a forest at night. The path is shrouded in darkness, and you are afraid. You stumble over roots. Every rustle in the leaves feels like a threat. Your entire world has become a place of danger and uncertainty. Then you remember the flashlight in your pocket. You turn it on. Instantly, the path is illuminated. The menacing shapes are revealed as harmless bushes. The sound is just a small animal. The forest has not changed. The night has not changed. But your experience of it has been utterly transformed by the light you brought to it. Now, take this a step further. The flashlight is still an external instrument. The true metaphor is that you yourself are the light. You are the luminescence that reveals the path. Without you, the perceiving consciousness, there is no path, no forest, no night to be afraid of. There is nothing. This is the pivot upon which your entire spiritual experience turns. The shift from seeking a light to recognizing you are the light. When a problem appears as a dark cloud on your horizon, the temptation is to focus all your energy on the cloud, to try to blow it away, to analyze its composition, to worry about its arrival. This is the old way, the way of the outer man. The new way, the way of illumination, is to turn your attention not to the cloud, but to the sky. The sky is your consciousness, vast, silent, and unchanging. The cloud of a health scare, the storm of a financial loss, the fog of a personal betrayal. These are all temporary weather patterns appearing in the sky of your awareness. They are not the sky itself. The sky holds them, allows them, but is never damaged by them. A hurricane cannot tear the sky. A lightning bolt cannot scorch it. Your practice, then, is not to fight the darkness, but to abide as the light. When fear arises, do not run from it or try to smother it with positive affirmations. Instead, turn inward and become aware of the space in which the fear is arising. Who is aware of the fear? That aware presence is the light. It is the sun of your being. It is not afraid. When lack knocks at your door, do not immediately rush into frantic action born of panic. First, be still. Become conscious of the consciousness that is witnessing the feeling of lack. That witnessing presence is boundless. It is abundance itself, and it cannot know lack. You are not trying to change the appearance from a bad one to a good one. You are realizing that the appearance has no substance, no reality, apart from the consciousness that is perceiving it. You are realizing that the sun of your own awareness shines even in the midst of the darkest mental or emotional storm, and by its very nature, it reveals the insubstantiality of the storm itself. This is not a denial of human experience. It is a transcendence of it. It is moving from being a victim of the weather to abiding as the climate itself, stable, serene, and radiant, regardless of the passing tempests that may dance across its surface. And so we come to the natural and inevitable implication of this truth, the cornerstone upon which our entire demonstration rests. The world's darkness is an illusion that cannot touch this light. This is not a statement of blind optimism or a mere philosophical idea to be debated. It is a statement of absolute, scientific fact in the realm of spirit. Just as the sun does not cease to exist when a cloud passes before it, the light of your consciousness is never diminished, never stained, never even contacted by the appearances of trouble, disease, or despair that parade through your life. The cloud may seem, for a time, to obscure the sun, but the sun burns on, utterly unaffected, its power and constancy undiminished by the temporary shadow. The shadow has no substance of its own. It is merely the temporary absence of light falling upon a particular area. In the same way, what you perceive as darkness in your life, be it fear, grief, or pain, is not a positive, powerful force in its own right. It is merely a temporary experience, a shadow cast upon your perception when you have, even for a moment, turned away from the conscious awareness of your own inner sun. Think of a movie screen. Upon it, a dramatic scene unfolds. A terrible storm rages, ships are sinking, and the characters are in peril. The images are vivid, the sounds are terrifying. For a moment, you are captivated, your heart races. But now, shift your attention. Look not at the images, but at the screen itself. Is the screen wet? Is it torn? Is it afraid? Has the storm, in any way, damaged or altered the screen upon which it is projected? The answer is a resounding no. The screen remains pristine, untouched, and unmoved by the dramatic content playing upon its surface. The world of your experience is exactly like that movie. The screen is your own consciousness, the infinite, ever-present awareness that you are. The projected images are the circumstances of your daily life, the joys, the sorrows, the gains, the losses. The darkness you fear is just one of the images on the screen. It has no power to harm the screen. Your suffering arises only when you forget the screen and become completely absorbed in the drama, believing the storm on the film is a real storm capable of drowning you. Let us bring this into the stark reality of your own living room. You receive a diagnosis from a doctor. The words are heavy, the prognosis uncertain. A deep, chilling shadow seems to fall across your entire future. The old man, the outer man of the senses, immediately accepts this as reality. It panics. It begins to write the story of suffering and loss. It sees only the darkness. But the truth we are speaking of here invites you to a different response. It does not ask you to deny the diagnosis, but to deny its ultimate power and reality. It asks you to look not at the shadow, but to become aware of the light that is looking at the shadow. The fear, the pain, the anxiety. These are all shadows dancing on the screen of your awareness. Can you, even for a moment, feel the screen? Can you feel the presence that is aware of the fear? That presence is not afraid. That awareness is not sick. That consciousness is whole, perfect, and complete. And it is the very substance of your being. The diagnosis is a piece of information in the world of form. Your consciousness is the formless reality in which that information appears. The two cannot meet, just as the storm in the movie cannot touch the screen. This is the great secret that liberates. The world will present you with an endless procession of shadows. It will show you lack where there is infinite abundance. It will show you sickness where there is indestructible life. It will show you hatred where there is only, and can only ever be, the one divine love expressing itself. Your work is not to fight these shadows, to wrestle with them in the dark. Your work is to shine the light of your own conscious awareness upon them. When you do this, a miraculous thing happens. The shadow does not run away. It simply ceases to be. You cannot have a shadow in the full, direct blaze of the sun. When you stand as the unwavering awareness, beholding the fear without becoming it, the fear loses its substance. It is revealed for what it always was, a phantom, a temporary configuration of thought and sensation, having no power to separate you from the peace that you are. The darkness was never real. It was only the illusion of a reality other than God, other than the one infinite consciousness. To believe in the darkness is to give power to a lie. To abide as the light is to know the truth. And the truth is that there is no darkness, no problem, no power, no presence apart from the one divine consciousness. That is your own self, shining eternally, unaffected and pure. This brings us to the very heart of the promise. The truth that makes all the difference between a fleeting spiritual experience and an abiding state of grace. This inner light is perpetual and knows no night. The sun in the sky, for all its magnificence, is governed by the rotation of the earth. It sets. It leaves us in darkness, and we must wait, often with anxiety, for its return the following dawn. This is the perfect metaphor for the light of the outer world, the light of circumstances, relationships, and health. It comes and it goes. It is variable, conditional, and entirely dependent on factors outside of your control. But the sun of your own being knows no such cycle. It does not rise and it does not set. It does not wax and it does not wane. It is a constant, unwavering emanation from the very core of your existence, a divine radiance that is eternally present, regardless of the time of day in your personal life, regardless of the season of your soul. Consider the deepest, most profound darkness you have ever experienced. It may have been the shock of a devastating loss, a moment when the floor of your world fell out from under you. In that moment, the external lights, the light of your plans, the light of your security, the light of that relationship, were utterly extinguished. And yet, if you look back with a subtle and honest gaze, you will recognize that something remained. There was an awareness of the devastation. There was a silent, perhaps almost imperceptible witness to the shattering of your world. That witness, that bare awareness, did not break. It did not shatter. It was present, observing the collapse. That is the perpetual light. It is the one thing in your experience that has never, for a single second of your entire life, ever gone out. It was there in your first breath, and it will be there in your last. It is the continuous, unbroken thread of conscious being upon which all the beads of your experiences, the joyful and the sorrowful, are strung. This is not a metaphor. This is the most practical truth you will ever encounter. Your entire search has been for a light that stays on, for a peace that cannot be disturbed, for a love that cannot be lost. And you have been looking for it in the world of shifting forms where nothing is permanent. You have been trying to capture the moon's reflection in a pond, a reflection that is shattered by the slightest ripple. The moon itself, the source of the reflection, remains serene and whole in the heavens. Your consciousness is that moon. The ripples on the pond are the daily agitations of your life. You have been focused on trying to calm the ripples to see a clear reflection, when the entire time you could have simply looked up. Let us take this into the mundane activity of dreaming. When you fall asleep at night, your body is inert. Your senses are shut down. The world you knew hours before has completely vanished. You enter a realm that can be chaotic, frightening, or blissful. In a nightmare, you may be running in terror, trapped in a labyrinth of fear. Yet, what happens when you awaken? You open your eyes, and the entire reality of the dream instantly collapses. It is revealed as unreal, a fiction of the mind. The fear you felt just moments before evaporates because the context in which it existed has been exposed as false. Now, I tell you that the waking state, the state you call real life, with all its problems and pains, is to the perpetual light what the dream state is to your waking consciousness. The fears of the dream cannot survive the awakening into the morning. In the same way, the fears of your waking life, the anxieties about money, health, or the future, cannot survive a genuine awakening into the conscious awareness of your own perpetual self. They are shadows that exist only in a lesser light. When the greater sun dawns within you, these shadows are not conquered. They are simply seen through. They are exposed as the dreams they are, having no substance to affect the one who is truly awake. This is why the mystics and sages could walk through fire with equanimity. It was not that they denied the appearance of the flames. It was that they were so established in the knowing of their true nature as the perpetual, indestructible light, that the appearance of fire could not command their belief. They knew the flame was as much a dream as a nightmare, and they were the awake ones. Your pain, your lack, your sickness, these are all dreams appearing in the sleep of separation. The moment you remember who you are, the moment you turn within and feel the solid, eternal, and ever present reality of your own awareness, you have begun to awaken within the dream. And from that point on, the dream loses its power to bind you. You can play your part in it, you can experience its forms, but you will do so with the underlying, unshakable knowledge that you are the perpetual sun, And all of this is but a passing weather pattern in your infinite, luminous sky. And so we arrive at the ultimate and most liberating correction to the human dilemma. You are not a seeker of the light. You are the light itself. The entire spiritual journey, as it is so often misunderstood, is predicated on a fundamental lie. The lie that you are separate from what you seek. You have been taught that you are a soul in need of saving, a sinner in need of grace, a flawed being in need of perfection. You have been cast in the role of a pilgrim on a long and arduous journey to a distant goal called enlightenment, peace, or God. I am here to tell you that this very concept of seeking is the final barrier. It is the cloud that obscures the sun, not the path to it. How can you seek what you already and eternally are? How can you journey to a place you have never left? The very effort to find the light is a confession of faith in your own darkness, a reaffirmation of the belief that you are there, and it is here, and a great gap exists between you. This is the great pivot from the path of effort to the path of realization. All effort is rooted in the belief in a self that must do something to achieve something else. It is the activity of the mind. And the mind can only function in a realm of duality, a realm where there is a seeker and a sought, a sinner and a saint, a problem and a solution. But the truth of your being exists in a realm prior to the mind, a realm of pure, non-dual is-ness. You cannot think your way into this. You cannot achieve it through any action. You can only recognize it, and in that moment of recognition, the seeker dissolves into the sought. The one who is trying to find peace discovers that he is peace, and in that discovery, all seeking naturally, effortlessly ceases. Consider the most famous of all spiritual tales, the story of the prodigal son. He leaves his father's house, journeys to a distant land, and endures great suffering and poverty. He believes himself to be separate, lost, and unworthy. He finally decides to return home, hoping only to be accepted as a servant. But the moment he arrives, his father sees him, runs to him, and restores him to his full status as a son. The son was never not the son. His inheritance was always his. His suffering was not due to a change in his identity, but to his forgetfulness of it and his belief in the reality of the distant country. Your journey is exactly the same. You have never left the Father's house. You have never ceased to be the divine light. You have only been living in the distant country of your own thoughts, believing the poverty of those thoughts to be your reality. The return is not a long journey. It is a simple turning around, a metanoia, a shift in perception from believing you are the prodigal to knowing you are the heir. Let this understanding dismantle the stress and strain of your spiritual practice. You sit to meditate, striving for a quiet mind, fighting thoughts, trying to grasp a moment of peace. This striving is the problem. It is the prodigal son trying to earn his way back as a servant. Instead, what if you were to sit with the simple, profound acknowledgement? I am the silence that hears the thoughts. I am the peace that is aware of the turmoil. I am the vast, open awareness in which this entire mental drama is unfolding. You are not trying to become peaceful. You are abiding as the peace that you already are. The thoughts may continue, but they are like clouds passing through the vast sky of your being. They are not a problem to be solved. They are not an indication of failure. They are simply content, and you are the context. This is the end of seeking. It is the end of comparing your spiritual state to another's. It is the end of feeling that God is withholding something from you. The moment you truly accept that you are the light, the entire search collapses into a profound and restful abiding. You will still engage with life. You will still perform actions. But they will no longer be driven by the frantic energy of a seeker trying to fill a void. They will be the natural, spontaneous, and harmonious expression of the light you are, shining effortlessly into the world of form. Your work is not to build the light, but to remove the layers of ignorance that have you convinced you are the darkness. You are not a candle to be lit. You are the sun. And you have been all along. The only thing required is to stop insisting you are the night. This recognition that you are the light itself, and not its seeker, ushers in the most critical transition in your entire experience. This is an experience beyond intellectual understanding. The mind is a magnificent instrument, but it is incapable of grasping this. It can learn the words, it can repeat the principles, it can even argue for them with great sophistication, but it can never know the truth. The mind operates in the realm of the known, of objects, of things that can be defined, compared, and stored as knowledge. But your true nature is not an object. It is the subject of all experience, the very consciousness that gives the mind its light. You cannot know it. You can only as be it. To try to understand God or your own self with the mind is like trying to use a flashlight to look at the sun. The flashlight beam is useless in the face of such overwhelming radiance. It is simply swallowed whole. The mind, when it approaches this truth, must fall silent. It has reached the limit of its domain. This is why so many are trapped in a spiritual cul-de-sac. They have accumulated a great deal of knowledge about truth. They can quote scriptures. They can deconstruct philosophies. They can engage in deep debates about non-duality. Their library is full, but their house is dark. They have mistaken the menu for the meal. The description of water, no matter how poetic, will never quench your thirst. You must drink. This is the fundamental difference between a scholar and a mystic. The scholar studies the maps. The mystic walks the land. And the land you are called to walk is the intimate, immediate, and wordless terrain of your own direct experience, right here, right now. Let us take a simple example from the physical world. You can read every scientific paper ever written on the nature of sweetness. You can understand the molecular structure of sucrose, the neurology of taste buds, the psychology of pleasure. You can become the world's foremost intellectual expert on sweetness. But unless you have actually placed a ripe strawberry on your tongue and experienced the taste itself, You know absolutely nothing of sweetness. All your knowledge is a shadow, a pointer to something you have never actually encountered. The experience of your own being is the strawberry. All the spiritual texts, including these very words, are merely the scientific papers describing it. They are useful, perhaps, in pointing your attention in the right direction, but they are a poor substitute for the direct, unmediated tasting. This is the great failure of religion and dogma. They have offered a set of beliefs to be accepted by the mind, a list of concepts to which one must assent. But God is not a concept. Truth is not a belief. It is a living, breathing, palpable presence that can only be felt in the depths of your soul, in the silent core of your being, where the chatter of the mind has ceased. When a profound peace descends upon you, not because of circumstances, but in spite of them, that is a taste. It is not an idea about peace. It is the substance of peace itself. When a surge of unconditional love arises from within you for no external reason, that is a taste. It is not a thought about love. It is the very emanation of love. These are not emotional states. They are glimpses of your true nature, breaking through the veil of thought. Your practice, therefore, must undergo a radical shift. It must move from the head to the heart, from the conceptual to the experiential. Do not ask, what is the truth? Ask, who is it that is asking? Do not try to still the mind by force. Instead, turn your attention to the one who is aware of the busy mind. Feel the space behind your thoughts. Sense the alive, intelligent silence that exists in the gap between two thoughts. This is not an intellectual exercise. This is a feeling, a sensing, a sinking into the substance of your own awareness. You are not trying to think about awareness. You are trying to be awareness. The mind will protest. It will call this a waste of time. It will demand to know what you are achieving. It will try to drag you back into the comfortable world of problems and solutions. But you must be gentle and firm. You are not trying to achieve anything. You are simply coming to rest in what you have always been. You are the canvas, and you are ceasing to identify with the painting. You are the ocean, and you are remembering you are not the wave. This is a knowing that comes not from data, but from identity. It is a becoming what you are. And in that becoming, the chasm between the knower and the known collapses into a single, brilliant, and ineffable-ness. The culmination of this entire journey, the fruit of this direct and wordless knowing, is this awakening, is realizing this sun within and living from it. This is the final movement, the transition from the glorious but private revelation in the meditative silence to its full and fearless expression as your very life. It is not enough to have a profound insight on the cushion, only to lose it the moment the world challenges you. That is like discovering a vast, inexhaustible treasure chest in your basement, but continuing to live in poverty, begging on the streets. The realization must become functional. The light you have discovered in the depths of your solitude must become the light by which you navigate the marketplace, the light that shines from your eyes, the light that informs your every word and deed. This is not a change in your essential nature, for that is and always has been the sun. It is a change in the center of gravity of your identity. You are no longer living from the surface of your being, from the reactive mind and the emotional body. You are living from the source. You are drawing your wisdom, your strength, your love, and your peace not from the limited reservoir of your personal history, but from the infinite wellspring of the self. Think of a pipe that brings water into a home. For years, the pipe has been clogged with rust and sediment. Only a trickle of water comes through, and the inhabitants of the house live in a state of constant thirst, always conserving, always anxious about their supply. Then, one day, the clog is cleared. Instantly, the full, unrestricted pressure of the municipal water supply, connected to a vast reservoir, flows through the pipe. The pipe itself has not become the water, it remains a conduit. But its experience of life has been utterly transformed. It is no longer defined by its constriction, but by the limitless flow that now moves through it. You are that pipe. The clog is the accumulated belief in your own separation, your personal limitations, your judgments and fears. The awakening is the clearing of the clog. The living from it is the continuous, unimpeded flow of the divine through the unique instrument that is your individual expression of life. This is where your life becomes a spontaneous miracle. You are no longer trying to be good or spiritual or loving. These qualities are the natural effulgence of the sun you are, and they flow without effort when the obstruction of the personal sense of self is removed. You will find yourself in a difficult conversation, and the words that come forth will not be your own calculated responses, but a wisdom that surprises even you. This is the flow. You will be faced with a situation that once would have triggered anger or fear,